evening, it's Aaron. How's everybody doing? I'm Aaron with Bowtie Treasures. We're here to paint, get creative, chat, hang out. I hope that you're excited to watch some fun creativity tonight. Hopefully you get a chance to go by and follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Anyways, we're gonna work on a project tonight and I'm excited to show you a few things. I'm a content creator for Dixie Belle. I'm always happy to be here to help teach, demonstrate, show, maybe even showcase some things. And I'm so glad you guys are with us tonight. I've been making progress on this vintage dresser. And I mentioned in the post that we're dressing it up. And I'm using the bells and whistles line of Dixie Belle to do that. You can already see I've made some progress. And on this piece, I've been using the sketched. Let me just show you here. Been using the sketched blue flowers. This is the premium decoupage rice paper and loving it so far on this piece. In fact, it was the feature of this piece. In other words, my color choices and everything were based off of that decoupage paper. And a little bit later on, I'm going to be using the silk screen stencils called Florals. And because it's got a really nice flower pattern, and you can see I've already applied it once. I did some work on this last night on my Facebook page, and tonight we're just continuing the process. So I'm really happy that we can work together on this, and it's good to see you guys saying hi and letting us know where you're from. So I really want to jump right into it, kind of give you an idea of, I put into the description of this live a little bit of the process that I have done so far, which includes a coat of Boss, a coat of buttercream, and then I went back with Yankee Blue, a wash of Yankee Blue, and gave this just a subtle wash. And if it'll show you, you can see even on my camera a little bit of the wash nature of it. It's not thick. You can see some streaks of the brush, just really wet washes of Yankee Blue. Because the decoupage paper's title and the look of it is called sketched, I wanted to keep this loose and I wanted to keep it artistic, so everything's very loosely done. I hope that you like it. Maybe let me know in the comments. So it's definitely not treated as a fine. It's going to feel just very light and almost like an artist canvas. That's our goal. And Dixie Belle's products are helping me do that. Tonight we're going to be using Clear Coat as our product to help keep the decoupage paper where we want it. And I've got some craft brushes. Let me just tell you that on my website, bowtietreasures.com, there under shop, there's an Amazon link, and I have things like these little craft brushes. I even checked tonight, I'm gonna try and use this X-Acto knife, but the blades and the X-Acto knife are on that. So little tools like this that I use around the shop are on that page. I'd show that as an option. And probably have some scissors where you can cut the decoupage paper down to size. Those are all some techniques. Last night I used some sanding paper to sand the paper into shape and get it off. I'm gonna try, I may try that tonight, we'll see. Anyways, those are some of the tools that I have here in the studio, and hopefully that gives you an idea of what we're gonna do. So what I'm gonna do here, my goal is not for the paper to continue all the way across. As you can see, it's too wide for one sheet. I don't wanna go this way, it's still not big enough. So we just wanna cut off some simple sections. Make sure you're using the right size. You can pretty much tell that the other side's kind of ghosted. So that's, turn my fan because it's blowing my paper. Okay, so just something like that. Make a little mark of where you need to cut. And I'm just gonna cut all the way across. That's gonna be the best, easiest way to go for now. And I'm just checking to make sure I've got enough of the pattern on there. There we go. If you have to, score it with your finger so you can see kind of a wrinkle where you are. So there's one. Let's see if this is long enough for two. But I think I'm going to skip. As I mentioned, I don't want it to look like a continuous pattern. And we'll just use this on this side. I'm just putting them inside the drawer so that I think it'd be nice if we did something like that, okay? So I'm just going to cut all the way across. I believe, unless I miscalculated, I believe there are 3 sheets of this paper in the package. Use the link I posted in the post to go and use my link and go check out the line and see all the beautiful decoupage papers that are available. I want you to see it done. So this is option 1. Do it right away. Option 2, let it dry. And you'll probably see a lot of people demonstrate how to do this, and they'll be different, just like I am. So I'm not touting I am this is the perfect way. I'm saying this is the way. All right, but this is how I did all the other ones. Okay, so it can work. I'm going ahead and do a quick score. So, and then we'll come back with the decoupage. Decoupage, the top coat. And I'm using sanding paper instead of a sanding pad because the pad or the sponge part does not let me to create a nice scored edge. You see how nice and easy that sand did for me? I'm sanding away from the middle of the transfer. That kind of helps me. And there will be times where I'll hit a piece of a fiber, and that's okay. I'm going to keep my X-Acto knife blade handy. You could use a razor blade, just something nice and sharp when you feel like the sandpaper isn't quite going through. And for me so far, every time I hit a fiber, it needs a little bit more attention. But like I said, now that I did the top coat, after it is working a little bit better. It just softens the paper up, okay? All right. I have found that on the other ones that I've done so far, that I'll come back the next day and just do a quick fine-tune sand because the edge might be a little rough. Just looking over this, almost done. My 220 sandpaper is a little older, so it's not super rough. Okay, so I've got an area right there where I've got a fiber. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a little help cut. Those fibers are there to make your decoupage paper strong, so no complaints about that. Sometimes you might do this decoupage paper in a panel and it's set in, whereas this one's raised. And you may have to adjust your technique depending on how the decoupage paper is being applied. So I'm just, again, this is my last reapply. I have just a little bit of top coat on my brush. I'll come back tomorrow. I think I'll finish sanding off any spots that are a little rough. So that's the gist of the idea. I hope that's giving you some. And nail file, that's a nice idea, Lisa. Because that's what I keep handy in my studio is a nail file. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you guys have those handy. Go steal my wife's, right? All right, I'll keep an eye on the time here. I have 2 panels on the cabinet doors to do, but I'll keep an eye on the time. I definitely want to demonstrate the silk screen too, so what we might do is do silk screen next, and if we have any extra time, I'll do the cabinet fronts at the end of our live. All right, so I'm gonna just rub all in one direction, just smoothing it out. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of top coat next. This will help start getting it protected and soften the paper up. So far, I haven't seen all the comments, but I love that you guys are throwing out your comments and your suggestions for how you like to do it, because every piece is different and every application of that decoupage paper may work differently for your needs. Okay. Just scoring the edge. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my sanding paper just a little bit smaller so it's manageable. That's what I'm kind of fighting, is just it's great how you can take this decoupage paper and really transform your piece from average to amazing. Off of there. Okay, just a little bit of top coat. I'm going to smooth this out. If you need to get some back in there, that's fine too. It should all, tomorrow or tonight, it'll be really nice. And I'll fine tune any other edges after it dries. So there you can see all three of the drawers and how those raised panels really look great. And Nancy asked if there's any bubbles. The answer, I might have one little thing right here, but I can smooth that out with my thumb. But the answer is no bubbles. If you do the top coat first, smooth it out in one nice direction. But I will tell you that these are small sections. When I go to do the door, let me show you the door. The door has, I did a little bit of darker blue on the inside, but this is the panel I'm gonna do. When you do a larger, you just have to make sure you work it out, okay? And just make sure it's got enough top coat. If it's dry, you won't be able to smooth it out. So make sure you put a good amount of top coat. So we'll come back to those panels at the end, just so that I can keep the variety of what we're doing tonight going. Let's switch gears to silk screen, and if we have time, we'll come back to does not look great. I love how that's coming together. And you can see already, I did one drawer last night. As I mentioned before, we'll be using the Bells and Whistle Line Silkscreen Stencil Floral. All right, there are two silk screen sets that have roses on them, but this one has more of a, let me see here. It has more of a rose style that matches the decoupage paper. So this is the rose I'm using for my piece. Just about every person doing it uses a different technique. The silk screens, if I could find it, come with a card where you can scrape on the medium. When I say medium, medium is it oil, a paint, or it's the artistic medium. And I did one some time ago. I used Moonshine Metallics, really pretty, and it came out really nice. But Anne's got it right. Anne said white wash. Good job, Anne. So we're gonna use white wash. The main reason, one, is because it's got a little glaze in it already. It's easy to use, it wipes on quickly. As I mentioned at the beginning of the live, I actually just put a YouTube video live where I whitewashed a French provincial dresser. If you're interested in learning more about whitewash, that would be a good video for you to go check out. So this is the sheet that comes in, one of the sheets that comes in the set. Now, this drawer is going down at the bottom. Let's take a look. That drawer goes here. And I think what I'm going to eventually do is I'll probably do something where the flowers are like this, and then on this side it'll be over here. So I'm going to continue that. At least for now, I'm going to do the right, and if I like it just like that, I'm not going to keep going. I'm not going to do a set of 4. So sometimes take those chances where you say, well, I'm just going to do that one way and not do anything else. You need to make sure you, I would recommend that you watch some videos on silkscreen. You can search Dixie Belle's video library for silkscreen and watch a few people do it. And then maybe practice and figure out what's the best technique for you. For me, so far, I have tried the card. I like the brush. I can apply it as much as I want. I can control it. I can even choose where I want to put it and not put it. Where the card, it's not as easy to quite do that. So nothing wrong with the card, it's just a different way. You might see some use a stencil brush, a foam applicator, Dixie Belle's blue sponge. There's a lot of ways to do that. I'm going to bring you in close, okay? Because I want you to see on this transfer what I'm looking for. Also, keep in mind that you don't want to dilly-dally. After you're done, I really do recommend that you get this cleaned, okay? I'm going to put my, I guess I'll hold it. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for my medium to, I want it to stay, see how it's light colored compared to dark? If it's dark, it has no medium in the screen. So I'm just lightly dipping into my brush or into my whitewash. Really, in my opinion, you can use anything that's thin enough to spread. And since I had just used whitewash, I thought I'd give it a try. I told my viewers last night that, hey, if it doesn't work out, I'll just lightly sand the drawer front and repaint it. And I literally did my live last night and I forgot about it, and this morning when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that looks great. So it's really vibrant, very white, and it looks good. And keep in mind that whitewash is a glaze, so it has some top coat in it, so it almost protects itself. It's kind of cool. All right, do you see that so far? Just brushing it in there. I'm not brushing a lot. As I mentioned before, a good test might be to try multiple techniques on the sample board and see what you like better. If you plan on doing a lot of silk screening, I think it'd be worth doing that test. So right here, let me move my camera here. Right here has nothing. And here where it's nice and bright white, there's medium in there. My rose, the stencil, the silk screen goes off of the drawer front. So where there's no drawer, it won't put any. So I'm good. But you need to take care in cleaning these. For me, last night I took a little soap and water and I just washed both sides. And I'm just taking a quick peek to see if I missed any other areas, but I think we're doing pretty good. Okay? Now you could chance reusing it in one setting. I personally wouldn't, only because I don't trust the medium on the other side, meaning any of that glazing would have gone through. So let's pull it off and take a look. Okay, so some of that goes through the back, so that's why I'm not going to stick it somewhere else and reuse it. I'm going to go ahead and just rest that in the water. I need to go clean this out, so that might affect what I do next. Anyways, you should expect a little bit, you know, don't over critique this. This is not meant to be, if you're looking at it that close, you shouldn't be. You should be looking at it this close, right? That's how we want to be viewing this. So let me just take a second so we can see the whole picture. And that's generally how that's going to look. Now, my thought was I'm going to echo it on the left side. I'll think about it. We'll see how it goes. But there are 2 doors here. And so my goal is, when it's closed, nothing, but when you open it up, I'm planning on painting this Yankee blue. That'll be a nice little surprise on the inside. So I'm going a little extra than I normally would on most of my projects, but I think this one's been a really nice project to do that with. I think in this view, you should be able to see that I put a little bit more Yankee blue wash in the crevices. I really wanted this panel to pop. Once I put a layer of Yankee blue on here, I took a lightly wet rag and just wiped it off. So you'll see some of the buttercream shining through. And I think that's working out really well. So if you're still with me, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. I have one more sheet of decoupage paper left. On this one, let's see, I think this is the left side, so let's do the left side of this. I just need to make sure I leave myself enough paper for the other side. And fortunately, it's taking up less than half. So I'm just going to be a little careful. All right, so this is going to be for the right door. So this is a bigger piece than the ones I demonstrated earlier. Clear coat first. I'm using a different kind of, this is a little nicer. This is not really a craft brush, this is an artist brush. But you get the idea, just get that clear coat on there. I'm gonna look at it sideways so I can see where I don't have clear coat. If you wanted to on this whitewash or clear coat, you could put a touch of color if you ever wanted to. But we'll do that right there. Okay. And then I'm just going to smooth it out. Right now I'm using the palm of my hand. The bigger the surface. And you just work in those, what I would say, air bubbles or any of the air out. If you feel like you missed any sections, just give it a quick. Okay. I can see you guys still hanging out there. I'm trying to bring in a little closer. My camera's blocking the light, so I can't go too far. If you were watching earlier, you know pretty much the routine next. So once you get it on there, now we're going to put another coat on. This is Dixie Belle's Clear Coat Satin. This is going to help soften the paper, protect the transfer, kind of sandwich that decoupage paper really well. And there, like I said, you could use a sponge applicator for this. It's a flat surface, so it should be easy to apply. And I'm just looking to make sure that I did not miss any areas. It's nice to have that nice bright light to be a reflection. Let's see how quickly we can do this. It's a little easier than a while ago because I'm working with my piece down as opposed to forward. I can put a little bit more pressure on the cut. I also, as you remember, cut my sandpaper into a smaller piece. I'm gonna have this done in no time. I really wasn't sure how far we would get tonight. I think we're doing great. Oh, did I just bump it? I hope you're following me on Facebook. You can, and Instagram. You can always see, I usually post progress pics of some of this. I've got a fiber right here. Good. Now we can just take that off. Either resand or just give it an encouragement, perforation. And the big reveal is about to happen. Dun, dun, dun. That looks awesome. What do y'all think? So look at your furniture at a different angle and with Dixie Belle's product line involved. And see if you can get creative like this sometimes. I'm just applying, as I've been calling it, courtesy. One last little bit just to make sure everything's nice and flat. And boom, we're done. One more, and we will call it a night. We've got to see them done, right? Got to see them done. This is my last piece. So we've done this entire dresser with this one package, so that's really great. And we'll have this all set. I'm kind of leaning over my piece right now so I can use the light to show me which part is shiny or wet, so I don't miss anything. That's a good thing to do, is make sure you don't miss a spot. Last thing you want to do is have the middle of your space dry. So I'm checking to make sure I got top coat everywhere. And it really isn't a problem for me if I get it on the sides, because I'm going to top coat that too. Okay, I'm going to move towards the edge of this a little bit, knowing that I have a gap between the cabinets. Make sure. All right, as I did a while ago, I'm going to push from the center out. I'm not being too gentle. I mean, paper can handle it. I want to make sure I get nice and smooth. You could probably roll this, but I couldn't find my roller thing, but I really wasn't doing a big enough space to that'd be a problem. So you want to spread that out. Now you'll come back and you'll do your, and don't be shy with this top coat. You don't want it dripping or anything, but you want to make sure you get enough top coat on this thing. One, it softens the paper, protects it. These papers are small. They're not really meant to, they're not covering an entire side of an armoire or something, so they're very manageable, very easy to use. I've demonstrated, hopefully, that pretty well for you so far. Okay, and my camera likes to zoom in on whatever's in front of it, so I'm sorry if my arm has got in the way. I'm moving so quickly I forget about my camera sometimes. But I think you guys are probably patient enough with me on that. So right there, you can see that dark edge. That means I have broken the paper surface. And here it's not broke. So forward to trying something like this. We're here to take that fear away, and if you do see any issues, sometimes I will tell you, like my last time to do this, I had a little bit of bubbles here and there, nothing much, but it doesn't take away from the piece. There's so many variations in this pattern that you'd have to stare at it really close. Pretty much all the decoupage are gonna have that look. There she is. So I think that's just such a perfect fit for this piece. And I think that's gonna look great. It's all gonna work out really well. So I'm really excited. And I'm so glad you guys stayed around and got to see this reveal of all the pieces. You never know, I still might surprise myself and do something else, but I'm liking the finish. I'm liking all the pieces. I hope you get a chance to use the link in the post to either find a retailer in your area to go check out these great products or order some for yourself there. If you use the link, I appreciate it a lot.
That's the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell before you go. Bye!